What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're covering Polygon Matic, as in maybe giving us early signs that a big move may be on the way. So with that said, let's not waste any time at all, and let's get straight into today's video. So, looking at Polygon Matic, it's been a while, right? It's been a while since we've talked about it, and a lot has happened. Well, the last time I talked about it was actually going to be right around here. And I told you all that I believed that we were in a macro wave 3. What I mean by that is typically within the, the bounds of Elliott's wave theory, you will see 5 waves. 5 waves to the upside, sometimes followed by an ABC correction to the downside, but in general, if we are going into an uptrend, it'll usually execute in 5 strong waves. Of course, I did believe we had put in wave 1. We had this impulsive wave 2 to the downside here, with the full push of wave 3 to the upside, and I said that I believed that wave 4 was coming, and I was expecting a more macro pullback to the downside. Well, what we can see here is that we did get a bit of a pullback to the downside, but as we did start to venture back up to the top side, we put in a double top here, right around $1. Now, this wasn't a convincing enough pullback, and it also wasn't a convincing enough pull to the upside to convince me that wave 3 is over. I just simply don't believe it is. I think that we are still within the realm of wave 3, and so for that reason, I am predicting and expecting that a wave 4 pull to the downside could very possibly be on the way. Now, before I get into the indicators, before I get into some of the other reasons why I believe a pullback is coming, I want to take a quick 30 second look on Bitcoin real quick, and just to show you exactly why I think that although Matic is important, we need to pay attention to this as well, and this is going to be the 200-week moving average. What we can see is that on Bitcoin, we broke above the 200-week moving average after being rejected by it, we cleared it, and we're now coming back down to retest it. If Bitcoin fails to retest this 200-week moving average and collapses through it, currently sitting at $22.8 thousand, I do believe the entire market is going to start to crash. In the same sense, I think if we successfully hold support here and start to pull up towards 24.5 thousand, I think the rest of the market is going to grow. So although Matic is important, pay very close attention to the 200-week moving average for Bitcoin, because this is going to be the catalyst that moves this market over the next few weeks. Okay. Now, back to Matic, what I want to pay very close attention to is a few indicators such as the RSI and the MACD. What we can first and foremost see on the RSI here is a drive of bearish divergence that entails that we could again possibly be seeing a pull to the downside very soon. Now, what we can see is we set a high here on July 18th, and we set a high here on the RSI on July 18th, right around 79. Now, from there, we went on to set a minor, barely higher high here, while setting an extreme lower high here on the RSI. And this divergence from a higher high to a lower high is a case of bearish divergence. And what this means is that more often than not, although we are climbing in price, momentum is waning, which is usually followed by a correction to the downside. When you compare that to the fact that this can be considered a bit of a double top, that could very possibly be a good formula for us to pull to the downside here. Now, not only that though, if we do look at our MACD has now officially crossed bearish, in which we are finally seeing this blue line coming down through our orange line here, which is usually a clear sign that momentum is changing. The last time we of course did get a pull of that nature, in which we did get the bear cross, was back in June, whenever we did see the strong capitulation to the downside. Now, if we zoom down even further towards the 4-hour charts, one thing we can see here on the RSI is that our RSI has given us strong signs of bearish divergence, especially on the highs that we just recently saw, in which back here we put in a high all the way up to 85. In that same time, we put in this high. We went on to barely set the higher high on the price. And just like we saw in the daily charts, we saw a huge case of bearish divergence forming, which is, again, a telltale sign that we very possibly could be seeing a pullback happening very soon. Okay. Now, all of these things combined just tell me that there is a strong likelihood, in my opinion, that some type of, again, wave 4 pullback is very probably on the way, especially, keyword, especially if we see the Bitcoin lose its 200-week moving average. So what I'm looking for is that if we're going to see a wave 4, it is my expectation that we could very possibly come back to revisit as low as 70 cents, which is a drop of anywhere around, it could be a drop of up to 20% at this point, right? I think there's a strong chance to say we could enter into some type of flag pattern or something similar, in which we put in, this Here we start to find some structure, and then we can consider, you know, this bit of flatness or this consolidation being, you know, your wave 4 bottom. Boom, and then we can start to look for that wave 4 to execute into the wave 5 or something more of this nature in a bit of a broad sense, right? Something similar to this. Okay, so overall, I think it is very important right now that while we are below $1, that I think it would even be fair to be scaling down on some positions. I did announce in my Patreon just a day ago that I did scale down some of my positions while we were seeing that double top form on Bitcoin. As soon as Bitcoin put this in, right? As soon as we saw this failure to clear and hold above this level right here, I scaled down some of my positions. I scaled them down literally right here because I said we're failing, we're running out of momentum, and this thing is not looking like we're easily going to clear it. So until we break back above this key level of resistance, I'm going to scale down my positions because the chance of us pulling back towards $20,000 to $21,000 is very likely, especially again while we are seeing rejections of this nature. So my position stands with Matic as well, that while we are below $1, it wouldn't even be a terrible idea to be scaling down this Matic position, locking in some profits at this level that we've seen since our purchases way back in wave 2, which I mean do look like anywhere up to possibly even, you know, 100+% in gains here, and just wait this thing out. If it goes in and it clears, you know, $1 and we start to really make some upward progress, then sure, reopening those positions here once you get that confirmation is fine. But while we are sitting below this key level of rejection with an M-top and failures on the RSIs and the MACDs, I think there's a good chance that it wouldn't be a bad idea again to, you know, lock in some of those profits. Okay, so overall, it does seem to me in the short term that we could very possibly be seeing a bit of a pullback as low as 70 cents to start to execute on our wave 4 before hopefully entering into our final wave 5 to the upside, in which I believe could be up to $1.40. The way I'm reacting to this is not doing too much. I'm obviously not doing a lot of buying while we are below $1, but at this current level, I am, you know, scaling down some of my positions just in case, and planning on re-entering if we are capable of breaking above these barriers that have been holding us down recently. So with that said, that's going to be realistically about it for today's short and quick update. If you of course do enjoy these very straight, simple, straight to the point updates on things like Solana, on Matic, Luna Classic, ADA, and more, of course you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button on this video so more people see it, and subscribing to the channel to make sure that if I post another video, you will see it. But with that said, that's going to be about it. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all next time. Peace.